Hi, friends. Welcome back. I'm so glad that you've taken this time to come to your mat today to give your spine some love. A strong and healthy back relies both on spinal mobility and stability. Our yoga practice today will provide some beautiful opportunities to move the spine with love while also targeting the core and the glute muscles, which are strong stabilizing forces for the back. So, if you're ready, grab your mat and let's begin our practice. We'll begin our practice today in child's pose. So I invite you to get settled, bringing your sit bones back to your heels and just allow your knees to separate as far as feels comfortable and begin to walk your hands away from you as you lower down into child's pose. Allowing the sit bones to come back towards the heels, reaching your arms out in front of you, and just let your neck be nice and long. And we'll first just begin getting grounded in our practice. So you can have your arms nice and relaxed and just taking a few deep breaths in. And as you breathe in, feel the rib cage expand. You may feel that movement against your thighs. And as you exhale, just allow a nice, beautiful, deep release, allowing the body to soften and finding that beautiful breath, that beautiful prana energy. And perhaps just take a moment just to set an intention for your practice, or perhaps just committing to being present and engaged during your time on your yoga mat today. Breathing in together, inhale in, and exhale, release. Beautiful. Now we're just going to start to invite some movement into that lower back. I invite you just to allow the hips to begin to shift left to right, moving only the hips one direction and then slowly over to the other side. Doing so is going to start to loosen up the SI joints, so just back and forth, inviting lateral movement into the hips, but also awakening that lower back. If this feels uncomfortable, just scale it back a little, but just explore, see how your body feels. Beautiful. A few more times here. It's a very subtle movement. You may be able to see me making this shift as you watch the video, but I'm just moving back and forth. This is one of my favorite ways to wake up my low back. And now just coming to midline, returning to a neutral child's pose. We're going to allow the hips to shift over towards your left, and you're going to walk your fingers over towards the right side of the mat. And if you need to bring your knees a little bit closer, that's fine. Keeping the forehead down and reaching with those fingers over towards the right. Feeling now the beautiful lengthening on the left side of the body, allowing the spine now to feel full lateral movement. Reach with your hands towards the right. And now we start to walk our hands back towards midline, and the hips shift over towards the right while the fingers keep moving and walk over towards the left. Feeling now that nice stretch on the opposite side. And finding your breath as you settle in. Maybe relaxing the jaw, the forehead. Just softening. Beautiful. Returning to midline. Walking your fingers a little bit further away from you. And as we inhale now, we're going to come up into our tabletop position. Shoulders are going to be over your wrists, hips over your knees. Knees are hip distance apart. Feeling the 4 points of contact on the mat. Your fingers are engaged. Feeling your knees equally weighted. we'll begin to invite some movement into the upper back with some rhomboid push-ups. With rhomboid push-ups, all we're doing is we're just moving in the upper part of that back as we push the mat away from us and feel the scapula start to separate. Everything else in the body stays still. Exhale, sternum falls, and we feel the scapula come together. Inhale, push the mat away, scapula separate. Exhale, sternum falls, scapula come together. Inhale and exhale, lower. 2 more times. Inhale, allow that broad opening in the upper back. Exhale, feel the scapula move. Now inhale, let's return to our neutral tabletop. Adjust yourself on the mat if you need to. And with our cat-cow flow now, we're going to invite the whole spine to begin to move. So as we inhale into our cat, let's drop that belly, rest of the spine follows, gaze comes up. And exhale into our cat, drop the tailbone, curl the spine, gaze towards the belly button. Inhale, cow, looking up. Exhale, cat. Really use your breath here. Inhale, drop that belly, gaze follows, looking up. And exhale into your cat. One more time, inhale. And exhale, finding that final cat, gaze towards the belly button. And from here, let's push right back into our child's pose. Maybe shaking out the wrist, walking the fingers away from us. And then inhale, returning to our tabletop, keeping our hips directly over our knees. We'll start to walk our fingertips away from us into our puppy dog pose. Forehead comes to the mat. And again, reach those arms out in front of you. And feel now this beautiful stretch in the upper back. Now the tendency here is just to allow that belly to completely collapse, falling down. That puts a little bit too much pressure on the lower back. So I want you to think about drawing the rib cage up and away from the mat. Feel how that invites a little bit more of a stretch and targets really the shoulders, providing that beautiful release. Taking a beautiful breath here in, expand the rib cage, fill up those lungs. And exhale, breathe it out. Inhale, walk the hands back towards you. Tabletop pose. Again, establish 4 points of contact on the mat. And we'll do a modified flow here of our thread the needle. So weighting your right hand, keeping your knees equally weighted. Let's begin to lift that left arm up towards the ceiling or the sky if you're outside, gaze follows. And then exhale, come down, bring that left arm under you, but hover that left shoulder, weight into your right hand. Once again, inhale, left arm comes up, feel that beautiful spinal rotation. Exhale, lower. Using your breath to guide you. Inhale, open and expand. And this time, when we come down on the exhalation, we're going to drop that left shoulder, coming into a thread the needle pose, keeping your right hand grounded as a stabilizing force, and trying to keep your hips squared. Tendency is to let one hip fall out to the side. Try to keep that balance in the lower body as you find the movement here in the spine, not in the hips. Maybe close your eyes for a moment. And now coming up, unwinding. Maybe shift your right hand over. You're going to float that left arm forward. Lift that right knee, kicking that heel back. Balancing tabletop or bird dog pose. Push the right hand away from you to stabilize that right shoulder, belly button to spine, engage your right glute muscle. This is a beautiful balancing pose. Hold. Now, inviting a little bit of core work, we're going to bring the left elbow to the right knee for a crunch on the exhale. Inhale, expand. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, expand and lengthen. Exhale, crunch and hold. Inhale, lengthen. Releasing your left hand down, right knee follows. Child's pose one more time. And just taking a moment here to maybe return to your intention, to notice how you're feeling, to do maybe a quick body scan. Inhale now, let's return to our tabletop pose, repeating the sequence on the other side. Left hand is grounded, hips are over your knees, release that right hand, spinal twist, right arm floats up, gaze follows. Exhale, thread the needle, hover the right shoulder. Inhale, open. And exhale, lower. One more time, inhale, really feel the spinal movement here as we look up. And exhale now, right shoulder is grounded, left hand stays planted, square the hips over the knees. Feeling now really the rotation here of the thoracic spine, working on that beautiful mobility. Releasing, coming up, extending your right arm now in front of you, lift that left knee, push and straighten that left leg back, balancing tabletop. Again, push the left hand into the mat, lifting, supporting this pose with a strong left shoulder. Squeeze that left glute, engage your core. Breathing in and out. One more breath in. And exhale, crunch right elbow to left knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, crunch. And expand. Hold. Right hand now lowers, knee follows. And let's allow our hips just to shift down towards the mat. We're going to transition to our seated position here. So swing the legs around. Plant your feet on the mat, bending the knees. We're going to do a little bit of targeted core work here. The core muscles are so important for keeping a strong and stable back. So let's just give them a little bit of attention and love. So what I'd like you to do on your exhale, I'd like you to bring your hands in front of you, keeping your heels on the mat. Let's just start to lower down. Lowering, 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 reaching your arms up in front of you. And now we'll come back up. This is 1. And lower again. Big breath in as you lower. And exhale, come up for 2. Lowering. For 3, and inhale, come up. And as you lower down, really try just to not let yourself just fall down to the mat. Use that core strength. Take your time if you need to coming down, and reach your arms up above you. One more time. Let's come up again. And this is our final roll up. So this time when we come and lower, we're going to stay on the mat. Shift your hips if you need to. Coming down and plant your hands onto the mat. Bringing your feet a little bit closer to your sit bones. Bring your heels to your sit bones. We'll transition into our bridge pose. Again, with our bridge pose, we're really targeting those glute muscles. Strong glutes are essential for so many things, but they're especially important for having a healthy back. So with your heels weighted, your hands along your side, press your palms into the mat. Let's begin to raise this pelvis up, vertebrae by vertebrae. Shoulders are grounded. Squeeze those glutes and begin to transition into your bridge pose. Lifting slowly and lift. And if you'd like, you can roll your shoulders underneath you. You can keep your hands on your side. You can clasp your hands underneath your back. Gaze towards the ceiling. Squeeze those glutes. And while you're squeezing those glutes, again, gently think about drawing your rib cage down towards the mat. It's very subtle. It's maybe a 0.5 centimeter shift. Weight in your heels. Your lower legs are your pillars of your bridge. Your glutes are your beams. Find that beautiful, strong bridge. Holding here and breathing. Beautiful. If your arms are clasped, let's bring your hands back along your sides, vertebrae by vertebrae, lowering the back down to the mat. Once your sacrum, your tailbone, has found the mat, float the legs up in a half reverse tabletop. Bring your hands up behind your head, and we're gonna do some final targeted core work here as we do some mini modified sit-ups. So we're gonna lift the head up for 10, lower, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, beautiful, you got this, 1, lower the head back down, release the arms, and now bring them out into a T-shaped position, keeping your lower legs as they are. Targeting the obliques now, while we also invite some spinal mobility into the back. Weight your hands onto the ground. Squeeze your knees together, and let's just begin to shift the knees left to right, back and forth. Just moving them one side to the other. And again, try to keep those knees equally aligned. Squeeze the knees together. Back and forth. Shoulders are grounded. You can use your palms to stabilize you. And maybe as you go over, you start to lower even a little bit further down. And maybe you pause. Using that core muscle, feel the spine move. Then move over to the other side. See if you can go a little bit further and pause. And now, this time when we go over, we're going to find a full spinal twist. Perhaps one of my favorite asanas for spinal mobility. So the knees start to fall towards your right, gaze towards your left hand, and just go as comfortably as you can. If you'd like to go a little bit deeper, you can take that right hand, put it on top of the left thigh. And this is a soft, gentle, mostly a kind of a restorative pose. So perhaps your eyes are closed, your body starts to feel heavy. Allow yourself just to sink into this shape. Finding that breath as you settle. Beautiful. If your right hand is on top of the left thigh, let's bring it back out onto the ground, arms in a T-shaped position. Ground those hands, squeeze those knees together. We're going to transition to the other side, but we're going to use stability and control with that core and that spine. So bringing the knees over now, allow them to fall towards the left while your gaze comes towards your right hand. And again, you have the option of having that left hand now come over the right thigh. Maybe just close your eyes. Savor this moment on the mat. Beautiful. Hand comes back down, bringing our knees up together. Let's allow the feet to come back to the mat and just extend those legs. Bring your hands along your side. We're going to just take a moment here just to savor and bring gratitude to the beautiful work that we've done together today. We've moved our spine in so many beautiful ways. We've strengthened our core. We've strengthened our glutes. We've taken some time for self-care in our day. You're welcome to stay here in your Shavasana if you would like. But if you're ready to wrap it up and to move on with the rest of your day or your evening, let's come back up into a seated easy pose, legs crossed in front of you. And I want to take this opportunity just to thank you for your beautiful presence and your energy. Wrists are on your knees, thumb to your index finger. Feel the beautiful humming energy of your spine. Lift your heart center, broaden those collarbones. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.